Hello, everybody. Welcome here tonight. We're getting ready for a great match tonight at the CCA. We have a Division 3 matchup, and we have Scarlet Scrimblers versus UWW White. I'm Toma tonight. I'm going to be one of your commentators, and we've also got Spicy on the mic with me. How are you doing tonight?
I'm doing great. It's a cold, snowy evening over here in Pennsylvania, but right now I get to see some high action, really hot Splatoon action. I'm really excited to get into this.
So, am I? Let's talk a little bit about these teams as they're getting ready for this matchup. Scarlet Scrimblers, they were formerly known as DPU Scarlet. They played in season 2 of CCA in the Division 4 and got third overall there. Week 1, they got 4-0 here against Deep Sea Miners from the Colorado School of Mines. And why don't you tell us a little bit about UWW White?
Yep, sure thing. From the University of Whitewater, Wisconsin, UWW White is in their first season of CCA. In their first ever match, they went 1-4 against Nightfall from the University of Texas Austin. They're going to look to bounce back from their first loss, try to get a dub on the board right here in CCA.
They sure are, and we'll be gearing up to go into this first match here very shortly. We kind of see behind the scenes here what kind of weapons that these guys play here. And we got some interesting choices, I think, out on both sides. Both have kind of their meta choices. You got like the T-Tech from Quag on UWW White, you got the Splash, Tetris coming in from Garod on Scarlet Scrimblers, but you also got some interesting picks coming out. We could see some Octobrushes, some, Tri-Sloshers, even Hydra, which I don't, as I say the Hydra there, it goes right there, which isn't in the best place in the meta right now with Leader, but we're going to be going in right now on Museum Clams as both of these teams try to pick up this first game.
Yep, we see it also, as you mentioned, there's a Hydra from UWW. We also see the Nautilus from the Scarlet Scrimblers. So we're going to have that nice little interaction between those two Splatlings, having one with a shorter range, having that more damage, while the Hydra is going to be able to control that space, as you see UWW already going 3 down here early on.
Yeah, a great first push here from Scarlet Scrimblers as they're already able to get this basket open and they're trying to find a little bit of follow up here, but UWW White doing a great job kind of poking at them. The specials are coming out and are going to stop that with just a single power clam going in, but you notice at the top of that screen, there's still 3 down on UWW White and most of mid is still purple. Scarlet Scrimblers has a really solid hold right now.
Yeah, the Scarlet Scramblers have been doing a really good job so far of finding those spots. They already have another ball as they're going to try and make another push. Based on how their offense has been lately, just already, we could possibly see another massive numbers advantage. Going to see them try and make a big play. They're already up 2, and they break the barrier already. So you can see the Carbon Roller having another ball. They're going to try and get that score in, get another big advantage here. It's only like a minute and a half in, and they're already past the halfway point in this push.
Yeah, they're doing such a great job keeping this forward aggression here, and they were able to hold 3 down. You had that machine in the back, and the carbon was able to still handle that itself, and then come back around and dunk the power clam that it was holding in time. But now, finally, it seems like UWW White has been able to find a little bit of their footing, get those tri-strikes down into mid, claim some space, and it looks like they might be trying to gear up to take a push here. But this spot, as I say that, 1 goes down, 2 down now. They've got to play this carefully. They're kind of getting caught out in here in mid. You've got this jump in that this carbon roller is just gonna camp, and now you're just left alone as, a splash, as all of Scarlet Scrimblers is gonna kind of collapse down on top of them there.
The Scarlet Scrimblers have been doing this time and time again, just getting every single pick they can. They have a consistent numbers advantage. They already have 2 balls ready. They're going to try and make that another push right here. You see the balls coming up from that right side, having the Trizuka trying to make that space. They're going to keep trying to make that push, maybe get no more numbers advantage here. It's an even 2-2. There's only the splash now. He has the crab ready, pops the crab. Going to see if they're going to able to stop anything, but it doesn't look like they're going to be able to. Nope.
No, they're going to go down, and now 2 power clams up here in the plat of UWWI, although 1 does go down, and this last one's going to kind of back out, try to see if it can get out alive. And it looks like it is. You got the jump coming in from the Carbon Roller there that's going to do their best to defend kind of their teammates as they back up. Two down now, though, on the side of Scarlet Scrimblers. UWW White needs to take advantage of this, but they don't have the clam economy yet to be able to make a push. They've got all this space, but they've got to get a power clam together, and even more than just a power clam if they're going to break past that 44 point.
Yep, with only 1 minute 44 to go now, this UWW White needs to make a push happen. They already get a wipe right there. That's unfortunate to see. The Scarlet Scrimblers gonna try to get those clams, gonna try and possibly get more clams, get the dagger that just ends the game here. They've been able to make these pushes, been able to get these numbers advantages. They're gonna see the Carbon Roller have the Trizuka ready soon for possibly to pop it here. You're gonna want to see the Scarlet Scrimblers is gonna look to get just a couple more additional clams, make that final push, try to end the game here with a minute to go.
Yes, they are, and you can already see now, though, that UWW White is not ready to give up. They copped those tri-strikes to clear space out of mid. They've got the crab tank now, and this machine kind of poking underneath this ledge here, trying to make as much space as they can for their team. They find two picks. This is going to be a great opportunity for them, but somebody has to pick that clam back up. The machine moving up into the base of the Scarlet Scrimblers here, but the power clam goes down just short. Now you've got the machine up here. They've got that Booyah Bomb. There's a second Booyah Bomb being held to clear that plat, but there's no clams to follow up on. And that basket is going to close with just 20 points being put on the board.
A bit unfortunate timing from them on their front. You finally see UWW White get that push, being able to finally get on the board here. But with only 30 seconds to go, and they don't have the clan economy yet either to be able to make another push, it might be a little just a case of too little too late as you see the Scarlet Scrimblers just wipe out UWW White. And with 12 seconds to go, this might just be the dagger that ends the game.
It sure might be. As we're kind of like going to those last few seconds, they need to be able to find the clams to make a power to even force it into overtime. You saw some clam throwing going on that left-hand side, but it just wasn't enough to make it in time. Scarlet Scrimblers is going to take the first game of the set tonight.
An absolutely dominant showing that we've seen already for the Scarlet Scrimblers. Now, they went undefeated in their first game, and you can see why. They're just able to keep getting these pushes, keep getting these advantages right here. You can tell, like, Scarlet Scrimblers are the more experienced team being in their second season of CCA. You can see how that coordination is coming out versus the relatively less experienced UWW White.
Yes, you can. And, you saw just an excellent holding of space coming out from Scarlet Scribblers. Even when they go down on a push, they really never lost control of mid for that long. They did a great job of pushing together as a team and holding that space. And the ones that would back up, they didn't just jump out and retreat and give up free space. They would back up while still painting. They would hold what's in front of them and not allow UWW White to just push up into their base for free. And that's going to be something that's really going to matter on a mode like Splat Zones. Whenever you are in disadvantage and you need a backup, you don't want to give up that space. And we've seen that Scarlet Scrimblers here knows how to do that very well. And I think that's something that can come into clutch a lot here for them as we go into Splat Zones on Mako Mart. And I'm also interested to see what they're going to bring. You have these you have these Hydra, these Splatlings that are able to get in, can be aggressive, can hold space, but they're not the best painters. And you wonder if that's what's going to be brought out here, or maybe we'll see something that has a little bit more paint being brought out. Maybe we'll see more flexes towards like maybe a heavy splatling or towards more of a triple shooter comp. What do you think we might see here?
We're probably going to see a lot of painting power from both teams right here. I'm thinking one thing I'm really interested to see is potentially the flings of roller coming out from UWW White. We want to maybe see having being able to get that control with the missiles, just putting some pressure on from a distance, while also potentially getting some paint to have that control. UWW White has been struggling with like any sense of control, like relatively in this game, and you can see there's a lot of decision making going on between both teams, really trying to see what is the best comp to bring into the zone.
Yes, and we'll see very shortly as they're queued up right now. We're going to be loading into splat zones. Or, well, looks like we had a little
But
bit of a connection error, so we'll be holding tight for just a little bit longer as they all get back here into the lobby.
unfortunate, but sadly, thanks to Nintendo Internet, these disconnections are happening way more often than they should. We'll be right back soon, hopefully getting into the lobby once again. But right now, Tama, what do you want to see come out from UWWA? What are some changes that you want to see in the gameplay or stuff like that?
They really need to get in there and get more aggression, find their picks. I know that they've got a Flingza roller on their roster as well, and I think Flingza can be a great option for moving the back line and being able to push in and take space with. On top of that, I know a lot of their members, you got the sloshing machine, which has those fizzy bombs, which can really paint the zone well and provide pressure up onto those stacks. And I'd also like to see the leader come out. Um, Potentially as their backline. A Hydra, it can hold space. It doesn't have the best painting power. Well, necessarily E-Leader doesn't either. I've seen E-Leaders paint a lot just by getting those big shots across the zone. And I think that having that range right now could benefit them. If they're able to get those picks with that leader and move forward with them and take the space from the zone, that I think that could serve UWW White very well here. And they're gonna have to find something to answer with that aggression. If you have that Nautilus come back out, if you see the Tetris come out, you know that Scarlet Scrimblers can run a very in-your-face, very fast-paced comp. So you need to find something to shut that down.
Exactly. Yeah, I'm really excited to see what weapons are being brought out here. Apparently, we do have some player substitutions going on, so it's going to be interesting going into spot zones on Mako Mart to see who's going to come in, what are they going to bring to the table, and like just how does this change the gameplay here? It's still game two in the set. It's still very early. UWW White can definitely make a comeback here, force the Scarlet Scrimblers into a situation they haven't been before, which would be a game loss.
Absolutely. Anything is possible in these leagues. These teams are going through week by week trying to fight it out as best they can, and you saw the loss in week one for UWW White to Nightfall, but they were able to take a game. It shows that they're not a team that's just gonna be steamrolled. They're not people who are here to roll over. They're going to fight it out tooth and nail. And I believe that they do have what it takes here if they can just find a little bit more coordination, I think. We saw all the coordination coming out from the side of Scarlet Scribblers last time. We saw excellently placed specials and pushing forward with their team, excellent awareness of where the enemy teams were. And if you can get that same kind of callouts, if you can get those kinds of coordinations going on the side of UWW White, then they definitely have what it takes to take a game here tonight.
Exactly. Yep. You can definitely tell that the Scarlet Scramblers have their experience showing from previous CCA, from entrance exam, playing in Moody. All that there, we were able to make these big plays, be able to make those big pushes. I'm really excited to see how they go into this next game with all the momentum here, being able to see if they can expand on this league, continue this early streak of being undefeated with 4 seconds to go. We're gonna be able to go into spot zones on Mako Mart really soon.
Yes, we are. And keeping that momentum, like you said, can be huge. I'm sure like all of us comp players have been there before. When you're riding a high, you have to keep that going. That momentum is so important, especially in long like best of seven sets like it is in here in CCA. They've got to keep that together. And we see the Hydra coming out again on the side of UWWA. And just like I wanted to see the Heavy coming out on the side of Scarlet Scrimblers, maybe giving them a little bit faster paced comp, a little bit more paint out onto this zone, as they're both going to be vying for it over here in the opening. But the advantage is going to go early to Scarlet Scrimblers as they get that zone and two down.
Yep. As we've mentioned before in the first game, the Scarlet Scrimblers are finding these openings, being able to take advantage here. You're going to see them push up on the zone, having a numbers advantage early on. They're going to be able to keep this lead going, and they have some specials they're going to be able to make even more use of this. You see the Crab Tank coming out on the side of the Scarlet Scrimblers, taking pressure on the right side, now taking that 1v1 against that Crab Tank. Going to also try to see the Booyah Bomb come in from UWW White. It's going to be enough to flip the zone? No, and the Scarlet Scrimblers, you see them already in a very dominant lead, and even with two down, they're not losing the zone right away.
No, they're not. I almost thought UWW White had it there for a second with those specials coming out, but Scarlet Scrimblers were able to just hold on to the zone there. And now, with 15 counts ticking, one down on the side of UWW White, they need to make a move on this zone now. You have this splash dropping, trying to get it, but that's going to be a 100-0 push from the Scarlet Scrimblers.
you can see how dominant the Scarlet Scrimblers have been, like taking every single advantage that they can get there, making sure that UWW White has had no answer for anything, even in a numbers disadvantage for the Scarlet Scrimblers. They're able to keep the zone painted. They're able to keep applying the pressure. Honestly, I'm looking at them and they're just like they're looking like a runaway favorite in this set, and they're probably going to put the rest of Division Three on watch right now just to see how good, how dominant, how strong the Scarlet Scrimblers are this early on in the season.
Yes, definitely. That was, wow, a wild game there for sure. You had a great coordination there when you saw those strikes coming out along with the Booyah Bomb and then the fizzies from UWW while they were trying to retake. They were able to even get two down, but I believe if it, correct me if I'm wrong, it was Boop on that Junior just holding zone, throwing bombs, and doing the best that they could to keep it alive, and they were able to do so for Scarlet Scribblers, and yeah, that definitely made the difference there. Not getting the cap, not putting the penalty there was kind of the nail in the coffin in that game.
Yep, and like from a UWWA perspective, having that could be a really big demoralizing loss. Losing 100-0, not even be able to take them away from the zone for a bit. But right now, it's just like staying composed. It's still very much possible for them to make something happen in this set. Going into tower control and Eelto Alley, maybe this will be the game for them that just resets everything for them. Maybe this is the turnaround we're going to be able to see. But to make that happen, what do you want to see come out from UWW White?
Well, first thing, going back to what you said, is that the loss there could be so demoralizing, but 90% of this game is mindset. And if you can't keep your mindset together, and if you're just going to assume that you're going to lose because you lost the first two games, then you've already doomed your run. So we need to see, UWW White just coming into this with a fresh mindset, cool heads, and keeping it together. And we're actually going to see quite a different comp coming out from them here, running a double T-Tech splash and machine, which is going to allow them to play with well, we're gonna end the battle there for a second. See what was going on there. Maybe some substitutions, some weapon changes. I do like what's coming out there though from the little preview that I got to saw. That was a lot of aggression there that may be able to make them play a lot faster paced game, and I think that's kind of what they've been struggling with right now is their pace.
Yep, that was the exact thing I was thinking about right now. UWW White has been having a really hard time being able to keep the aggression up, and they're getting outpaced both like in the game and in fights. So it's gonna be. I really wanted to see UWW White have that really fast comp. Maybe this is actually closer to their natural play style, and it's good. This is the reset we've been looking for from them, being able to have a very fast comps, having the paint power, having the ability to just work on flanks and all that. Maybe this could be something we see here from UWW White if this lineup sticks.
Yeah, and that's something I think can suit them very well here in Eeltail. You want to make sure that you get your team in front of that tower and clear space for it to advance forward, especially that second checkpoint here. It's kind of surrounded by those ramps on both sides that make it easy for defenders to just kind of bomb down or shoot down onto the tower and deny you that second checkpoint. But if you've got a much faster paced comp and you can kind of push up there and take that space away from your opponents, you can clear that checkpoint a lot easier. And once you're through that second checkpoint, it can really snowball from there.
Exactly things I was thinking about right now. I want to see that potential snowball happening from WWE. I want to see this like amazing turnaround from them. It's going to be really hard. We've seen the Scarlet Scrimblers have this amazing coordination, have this great offense, have this great defense. They're just able, Scarlet Scrimblers are just able to keep putting this pressure on. And while UWW White is certainly looking on an uphill battle right now, maybe having these player changes, maybe having this like little break in between the action is exactly what they need to reset their mind. Going into like best of seven set, it's really important to play the long game, have that like mental composure, especially in any competitive game, really.
Yes, it really can be. And we're gonna be they're gearing up, they're gonna be selecting their weapons right now as they get back into this lobby. And this is kind of just this is a turning point, I think, that's going to be in this set because this is either where UWW White is going to take their first game, they're going to get that point on the board and they're going to feel a lot better, or it's going to set it up for match point for the Scarlet Scrimblers. So no matter the outcome here, it's going to have pretty big implications for the rest of this set, and it can really affect their mentality. It can really affect how they're going to continue to play. If this fast-paced comp they stick with and it doesn't work out, they may be scrambling to figure out what they need to do next. But if it does stick, maybe they found what they're going to work with. Maybe they found, hey, this is what we're comfortable with. This is what we're going to stick with. I've seen this happen in tournaments time and time again. Is teams will experiment with comps all the way through a game 3, game 4 in these longer sets, and then once they find what they can roll with, they can just really bring it home.
I completely agree, especially like this early on in the season. It's only week 2. It's only game 2 going into game 3 of the set. This is the time to start experimenting. Obviously, what we've seen before wasn't exactly working. There have been moments of brilliance, as we saw at that one push in Clanwoods. But right now, UWW White, I really want to see how this new comp works, if they're bringing that new comp, that is. And I wanted to see what their reset is here as we're going into game 3, Tower Control on Eeltail Alley.
Yes, we are. And we're going to see here this comp that we saw was sticking, and it looks like it is going to be sticking. This more aggressive comp coming out from UWW White, and more of a traditional, anchor position coming out from Scarlet Scrimblers, maybe going to be playing a little bit of a slower game this time.
Exactly. One thing I'm interested in seeing from the Scarlet Scrimblers, you see the Flings of Roar come out. That means they're going to have Tentas. You're going to be able to control that space. Maybe having like this aggressive comp from UWW White, you're going to force this team to scramble at the sight of missiles, get them out of position. You see one down, this Hydra goes down on the side of UWW White, and it's a wipe already. UWW White already going to take the tower, going to take the early lead, going to go to the first checkpoint. They're going to start pushing up. They're going to start showing their offense here and maybe make a great push early on.
And this is exactly what you wanted to see, and now they're here pretty clearly in front of those 2 ramps I was talking about, those places that you want to defend the tower from the second checkpoint, and they're going to break through that second checkpoint no problem. This tower is moving on pretty much uncontested at this point. That's going to change here now with this crab coming out, but it's going to be even forced to back up due to those tri-strikes and the Booyah Bomb coming out. Even more tri-strikes now, all the way pushed up to 30. That is an excellent push for an opening, especially considering the kind of, pressure that they've got here and what we've seen out of these past 2 games. That's got to be a great feeling for UWW White.
Exactly. I completely agree here. From UWW White, that was the exact thing we wanted to see. Have that aggression, have that pushes. As you see, they made such a big push already. With only a minute and a half gone, they have already brought it all the way up to the 30, all the way to the last checkpoint. You're going to see them fight for neutral here, try and get on the tower. Scarlet Scrimblers get on it right away, trying to get some push. They're going to have the Flings of Roar, have Tentas, or have a lot of specials on the side of Scarlet Scrimblers. Instead, Tentas come out, and they're still fighting for neutral here. No one's on the tower yet, and you see Scarlet Scrimblers take it right now, and let's see if they're going to be able to make a push here.
Yeah, but they are 2 down on the side of UWW White, but that is quickly being traded for 2 down on the side of the Scrimblers with just the Junior up, the rest of their members on the respawn. That Junior is going to jump out, and that's going to give the mid back to UWW White as they're able to advance forward. You're seeing great coordination here from them as they're getting these specials out and moving forward with their team. There's already so much just pressure down, and with 2 down, and it looks like it may be a 3rd here on this tower, 30 down again, UWW White is really able to find their footing.
This is a completely different team from the one I saw earlier in the first 2 games. I am loving what we are seeing from UWW White. Now, this is something where that's interesting. They have only one player up, and they're in a position where Scarlet Scrimblers are going to now be able to make a potential push here. How does UWW White respond to this? We're going to see them fight for neutral. They're going to try and get the Hydra Spotlight off the tower, not successfully though. And now the Scarlet Scrimblers have a slight numbers advantage. You're going to see them use their specials here. Going to try and make the push happen here. You see the Tentas come out. They lose tower, but not sure this is going to matter much. So you're going to keep tower. They're going to keep this push up, and let's see if they're going to be able to go to the second checkpoint. Just not quite yet, but it looks like they're going to try and get some picks here if they can make that pressure and keep it up.
And it's going to be difficult here for the Scarlet Scribblers because, like I said before, those ramps, those high points right around that second checkpoint are what you need to defend. And UWW White had that ground. Scarlet Scribblers hadn't pushed them out. And so they really, really struggled. You saw that Flingza forced time and time again to back off the tower because there was just incoming fire and bombs to it. They need to be able to push UWW White out of that area if they want to get a push going, especially considering that UWW White has the faster comp with more aggression, more paint. They've got to get those picks.
Exactly, and with only a little over a minute to go, the time is ticking now for the Scarlet Scrimblers. They're going to take it all the way to the second checkpoint now, but they're going to need to make something happen here with this push. They have to play smart here, keep them on the tower, try to get a numbers advantage when possible. There's 3 down now on the side of UWW White. This might be something really interesting here. They're going to take it past the checkpoint too, and all of a sudden, the lead has diminished. It's going to come down to the 34, 32, 31, and all of a sudden, the Scarlet Scrimblers are in the lead with 45 seconds to go.
Yes, and that's exactly what they needed there. Like you said, this after that second checkpoint, if you can clear it, it becomes so snowbally and it gets hard to get the enemy out of your base. And now with just 30 seconds left on the clock, UWW White needs to pull what we saw them pull at this game's opening. We know that it's definitely possible for them. We already have 2 down. They need to find those remaining picks to try to push this tower. And then now 3 down on the side of Scarlet Scrimblers. Just the Hydra Splatling up to defend. It gets a pick with just 1 member on the tower. They are trying to push it as far as they can. There's about 10 counts left, but you've got the battle going on the tower, and it is going to be taken by by Scarlet Scrimblers, denying UWW White that game. That was wow. It was a loss for UWW White, but you have to feel much better coming into that game. Yeah, sure, we lost, but we performed so much better.
Exactly. Having that massive improvement. You saw that amazing push that happened and within the first minute, taking it all the way to the 30 with how aggressive they were, how much they were able to take up the space, just get in the face of the Scarlet Scrimblers. You can tell there's a lot of potential now from the side of UWWA, but all the props in the world to the Scarlet Scrimblers. Looking at that massive deficit with honestly like a minute and a half to go, it will look really hard for them to make that push, but they kept calm. They kept their poise. They kept their composure, and you saw them make that massive comeback. This is like where the experience comes in. Just because they're down doesn't necessarily mean they're out. And now all of a sudden, Scarlet Scrimblers are in match point of the set.
Yeah, it definitely is now. UWW White is definitely going to be feeling that pressure. They need to make the reverse sweep if they want to take this set, but that is a long uphill battle. It's definitely possible. We've seen it happen. We saw it in Ludi. We saw it on Splatoon Tourney with the tactical rulers coming back against the Whip Rays, and we're gonna hope if you're UWW White, you want to have that same miracle happen. You want to have that same performance happen, but you've got to do it game by game. You can't get ahead of yourself. And that first game that they've got to conquer here is Rainmaker on Mincemeat Metalworks. What do you think out of these comps we've seen? What do you think we might see? I know that myself, this Hydra Splatling, that's going to be a great pick here. You've got those grates that it can walk across. It's not hindered as much. It's got excellent popping power, and that's going to be scary if you're UWW White right now.
Exactly. From what I'm thinking with UWW White, Rainmaker is generally seen as this really fast mode. So we saw UWW White win with early aggression, win by just outpacing the Scarlet Scrimblers. Maybe in Rainmaker, this is where they really shine. Having that fast pace, being able to just make big openings, get early wipes, get an early push, maybe take it all the way to just make it very hard for the Scarlet Scrimblers to come back. We saw UWW White get a massive lead early on in tower control. So maybe now having that experience of we can get this lead, that was the confidence boost they needed. They might also have that same confidence come out when they're on defense and make it really hard for the Scrimblers to make anything happen.
Yeah, and that's what they want to do here. They've got to get that game, and I totally agree. This is a very fast-paced mode. You can kind of just get up in their face, just like tower control. This isn't like clams. This isn't like splat zones where you're waiting on a timer. You've got to scout out clams. And unlike tower, where you have to kind of wait on it to trudge forward through its little path, you can take the Rainmaker wherever you want. And that fast pace can really, really help here. And once those first two checkpoints are broken, it's just like a Splatoon 2 Rainmaker game where if you get a wipe, you can just clear so much space and get so many points on the board. We do see that fast paced comp coming back out from the side of UWW White, and we see on the side of Scarlet Scrimblers them changing off the Hydra for a Nautilus, for something that may have pretty similar popping power, but is going to be a little bit more mobile, a little bit more faster paced for this mode.
One thing I'm also really interested to see is the 96 Gal Deco come out from the side of the Scarlet Scrimblers. Having that Kraken is in Rainmaker, you see that's a weapon that can easily, especially that can easily stop a push, can easily paint a path. This is the first time we're seeing a Kraken in this set, and I'm really interested to see if we're going to see it make any big moves here.
And I've seen some crazy Kraken plays. I don't know about you, but I've seen people like surf the Kraken. They'll grab that Rainmaker, they'll hide in their teammates' Kraken like a body shield. There's some crazy plays that can happen with that. And I'm also interested to see what we're going to have playing here. But right now, there's 2 down on the side of UWW White. As they're in another 2 down, they're going to continue up this man advantage, but still not picking up the Rainmaker, as they're maybe just trying to find another pick, maybe see if they can bring it to 3 down, trying to find a little bit more of an advantage. And there's going to be now a lot more purple out on the field. They're going to try to rush it early to this right-hand side, and they are going to get that first checkpoint.
Early lead so far from the Scarlet Scrimblers. You were going to see this come out. They were able to take advantage, just sneak on right by all of UWW White. UWW White now has the Rainmaker. They're going to try and respond with their own aggressive play. They're going to try and come up here on the low side. Not able to make it all the way, only taking up to the 84. It's an even 3-3 right now. Now we're going to see if UWW White, they're going to have a bit of a numbers advantage here. They're going to have some paint. They're going to try and go over to the checkpoint right now, and they're going to break it. And all of a sudden, it's a relatively even match, especially right now as the Scarlet Scrimblers are only 2 down now, while UWW White has their full group.
Yep, this is Scarlet Scrimblers right now. You have to be careful not to feed, not to stagger, because now that Rainmaker is in your base, and if you do that feed stagger loop, you're gonna get punished by UWW White, especially with this much faster comp. We got this Octobrush, though, coming in for great defense, taking care of that splash and stopping the Rainmaker pop. You got a Crab popped over there on the side, too, trying to contest that Rainmaker, but none of their teammates really there to follow up on it, as you see the one member of UWW White trying to sneak in there and maybe put a few points on the board, but is stopped. And now this is going to return back to a neutral game as this Rainmaker resets to mid.
Yep, with the Rainmaker back in mid, I'm really interested to see how both teams respond here. Obviously, the Scarlet Scrimblers are going to try and get back any points that they lost here, but you see that they have that slower comp here, at least in comparison to UWW White. They're going to use this to now take advantage of everything they can get here. Just get those numbers, get those picks. Once they're able to do that, then they know they're going to be able to make a push. There's still 2 minutes left on the board. They don't have to win right away. You don't need to win. And especially with both checkpoints already gone, you could potentially see just a massive run from either team with both checkpoints. Just like as you said before, it could be very much a Splatoon 2 game.
Yes, it sure can be, and now we're going to see the Scarlet Scrimblers attempt to make this push here. They've got 2 down on UWW White now. The Kraken going into the base, not able to find a pick, and now they're going to fall, and that's going to be the wipeout now on the side of the Scrimblers, as UWW White is going to be able to pick this back up. You already see Ellie and Quag up there trying to take as much space as they can for their Rainmaker to come swim through, but the Scrimblers already ready for the response, getting 2 down and looking to try to see 3 down. Now just 1 member left on UWW White, but they're kind of jumping in here. They're getting taken down. Only 1 left again. They're kind of falling into that stagger when they really need to break that here if they're going to come away. And oh gosh, that splash was so close to the Rainmaker there, but the Rainmaker keeps getting good pick after good pick. But that's not going to be enough. Scarlet, or the UWW White, is going to come in here and get these burst bombs. This is kind of just like a bloodbath happening right now around this Rainmaker.
An absolute bloodbath indeed. You saw some amazing play from that Rainmaker carry, being able to get pick after pick, but the UWW White, they were able to get one stop. That's all they needed right here. With 30 seconds to go, the Rainmaker is reset, and every little distance back every little distance that Scarlet Scrimblers now have to travel is going to feel so much more harder with like 20 seconds to go. Both teams here in neutral right now just trying to feel each other out. They don't need to pick it up right now. Scarlet Scrimblers have 14 seconds to go. They're got the UWW White's gonna just have those ink strikes come out. It's gonna be really hard for the Scarlet Scrimblers to come out. 5 seconds to go. They're having a hard time getting any opening whatsoever right now. Are the UWW White gonna be able to hold on right now? And they do. UWW White's gonna take the game. That's the first loss of the season for the Scarlet Scrimblers. Then.
Yes, it is, and that was great there. You saw them use those specials trying to hold off the Scrimblers for as long as they can, and they were able to displace them for just long enough that they weren't able to pick up that Rainmaker in time to trigger overtime. That was a great play game, and I think what you said was so right before we started. This aggression, that's exactly what they needed. They were able to push up. You saw them get those wipeouts and just create so much space for their team, and that Rainmaker was able to swim up pretty uncontested until everybody respawned. It was great play there from UWW White, and if that's the kind of aggression I need to see them continue if they're going to be coming back and making this reverse sweep. You know, they've won Rainmaker, but now we're going back into Clan Blitz. We're going into Clan Blitz on Inkblot Art Academy. It's a mode that they previously lost in this set, so they need to figure out, hey, what did we do wrong last time? How did that one push that we made at the end come together, and how can we replicate that not just at the end of the game, but throughout the game this time?
Yep. Well, right now, from the side of UWW White, one thing I really do want to point out is that they went into Rainmaker already down. The Scarlet Scramblers made that first push. They made that checkpoint happen. And UWW White, kind of in a reverse of tower control, they were able to show that poise, show that composure, being able to, we can still do this. We have the fast comp available. We're going to be able to get a push happen. And once we get this push, all we do is just get it far enough and just make it really hard for the Scarlet Scramblers to get that opening. Now that we're going into Clan Blitz, I'm really interested to see if they stick with this super fast comp. They went into this in the first game, not exactly having their foot set with their comp, but right now they've shown that they can be super aggressive here. I wonder if they're going to have like a massive just play style shift going into Clan Blitz.
You know, and I really hope that they do keep this comp. You know, one of the biggest part of Clan Blitz that a lot of teams struggle with is you can't just get picks and then just win the game. It's not, you know, splat zones, it's not tower control where the objective will just passively count if you can continue to get those picks. You've got to find space, you've got to find these clams, and a huge part of that is map control. You know, in tower, in rain, in zones, there's pretty large portions of the map that are kind of irrelevant. You can kind of ignore them. You maybe go there to paint for special every once in a while, but otherwise they're not really something that you focus on a whole lot. But in Clam Blitz, that can be really different. You know, painting those areas, watching for clam respawns on your map, you can see those glowing clams when there's things there to gather. That can really make the difference in your clam economy for your pushes. And that aggressive comp with those three shooters and all of that paint may be what UWW was lacking in that first game.
Exactly. I'm really interested to see if they stick with this to have that thing. One other thing I want to see from the side of UWW White to make this comeback happen, to force even more games this, I want to see some more coordination on there. And you saw from the Scarlet Scrimboards in Clan Blitz, in Splat Zones, they're able to force these openings by having all these coordinated plays. You saw some of these brilliant moments in the play from UWW White, but oftentimes they're just getting out coordinated from the side of the Scarlet Scrimblers. And I'm really interested to see going into Clan Blitz, which is considered honestly normally seen as the most team coordinated dependent game, if they're able to show that teamwork, just have that great plays.
Yes, they definitely need to, and we do see them bringing out that aggressive comp again, and I think this is the same exact comp from Scarlet Scrimblers that we saw in the first Clan Blitz game here tonight. So we're gonna just, it really is gonna boil down to coordination. Clam Blitz, you've got to find those picks, you've got to find the space, and you've got to find the clams, and all of that doesn't happen alone. You need your whole team to do that. You need to clear the space in front of the basket together as a team. It's not kind of one of those ones where you can just one person hero mode it. So we've got to see that coordination come out. We kind of see in the beginning of this match is both teams are going to kind of vie for mid control right now. A bit of a fight going on. UWW White is going to get the advantage of that first pick there as they're now kind of encroaching on Scarlet Scrimbler's plat.
Yep. One thing I'm looking at with UWW White is that they're already having more clams, at least much more in this compared to the side of Scarlet Scrimblers. If they're able to find this numbers advantage, they're going to be able to potentially make a push. As you see, the sloshing machine having 5. There's some clams from both splashes right now. They're going to try and take advantage of these situations right now with 2 down on the side of Scarlet Scrimblers. UWW White right now just trying to keep up their space, trying to keep that composure, and trying to find that opening. There's a minute already gone in the game, but Clan Blitz can often be a long game, especially in a really high tense situation like this.
Yep, you've got to find those picks to move forward, and until that comes together, you can just play a really, really long neutral game in clams, and that looks like what it's shaping up to be here right now. Both of these teams tonight has shown that they have aggression, shown that they have coordination. It's going to be hard for them to be able to find that, what they need to be able to start a push here. As they're going to continue to fight here over on the right-hand side, we see, oh no, I was about to say 2 down, but the commentator's curse comes through. Now just 1 up on the side of Scarlet Scrimblers. This may be shaping up to be the advantage that UWW White needs. They've got the crab tank online from the splash that can come out. They need to find that space, but they do lose their sloshing machine.
Yep, losing that sloshing machine takes away probably their biggest range option outside of having the crab tanks. You see UWW White has 2 power clams ready. Once they're able to find this opening field, they're going to be able to make a push happen. As you see, they break the barrier. They're probably not going to, yep, with the wipe happening, they're not going to be able to make much after that. But that's an early lead. And with how long and drawn out these games can be, if UWW White is able to hold on defense, this could be a very powerful move early on.
Yes, and that was a great coordination we saw there, but there was one thing they didn't account for, and that was bonked there on that carbon roller coming behind, getting that crab tank, who I believe was their second power clam carrier, and really killing the rest of that push for them. Scarlet Scrimblers had a great defense there. You know, they let the break happen, but they didn't let more than just the power go, and that's going to be, you know, an easy kind of push to come back from. 20 points, nothing on the board in the game of the Clan Blitz.
Yep, 20 points is not a big lead at all, especially when the Scarlet Scrimblers already have 2 power clams ready. Make that only 1, unless someone picks it up right here. Yep, you see the 2 power clams come out from the side of the Scarlet Scrimblers. They have the crab tank ready also if they want to make an opening right here. They have a minute 45 to go. They're going to have some time. Losing, going 2 down, though, is going to make this much harder.
And once again, you know, it looks like they were set up to be in a great spot to make that push. But this carbon roller kind of coming in again and just foiling those clams. And they come around to get another splat as well. They've really got to keep an eye out on this carbon roller. This carbon roller is doing a great job on the defense for the Scarlet Scrimblers.
Yep. And with the great defense, we might be able to see some great offense come out from the side of Scarlet Scrimblers too. With 1 minute 10 to go, you want to be able to see if they're going to be able to make this push happen. It's not a big deficit. It's only 1 power clam and then just a clam. So right now, the Scarlet Scrimblers are going to have 1 minute to go. See if they can find this advantage. They're going to have some people building up clams right now. They know that they can win this game going in with only 1 push and a little more. So right now, from the side of Scarlet Scrimblers, I want to see this coordination. I want to see them take the numbers advantage. You see the carbon roar come out, got to try and get a pick right there. Not able to do it, but right now, with 40 seconds to go, it's a really close game.
It sure is. God, and that was a great defense there from UWW White. Just when the Scarlet Scribblers thought that they had the man advantage and were going to make that push, you had Ellie there pop that crab and defend. And now just 20 seconds on the left on the clock. And I don't believe that Scarlet Scribblers has a pity clam anymore either. They're going to have to build that up, but it's just their T-Tech up. And all this pressure coming out from UWW White is going to make it really, really hard for them to get this power clam together in time.
Yep, and with 5 seconds to go, I don't know if they're going to be able to do it, especially with 2 going down. And all of a sudden, UWW White went down 3-0 in the set, comes back in 2 games, wins on Clam Blitz the second time around after losing in game 1, and all of a sudden, this feels like a completely different team compared to the team we saw right at the beginning of the set. And I'm really excited to see if UWW White is able to build off of this momentum and going into game 6 and make this set super interesting.
I know it absolutely is. For game 6, we're going to be going into Splat Zone's Mahi Mahi, and if they can take the win here, it'll be 3-3, and it'll all come down to the last game. And just like you said, it feels like a completely different team coming out. There's so much more aggression, a lot more coordination. I still think there's room for a little bit more. Some of those specials, some of the calls are keeping eyes on those opponents could have been just a tad bit better, like watching, especially I want to say Bonk, they've got to keep an eye on that Carbon Roller who just keeps getting around them. But all the momentum now is in their favor. They've won these past 2 games coming down from a 0-3 position. They're in such a great, great spot right now in this set.
Exactly. But one thing to consider is that we are going into Splat Zones on Mahi Mahi. For those who remember, Splat Zones was an absolute dominant performance from the side of the Scarlet Scrimblers. Granted, UWW White wasn't bringing their fast comp, but the Scarlet Scrimblers do know that even though they went down in those last 2 games, they still have that mental note of, we absolutely just obliterated this team when it came to Splat Zones. Splat Zones might very well be the Scarlet Scrimblers mode, and on a map like Mahi Mahi Resort, where everything can feel super claustrophobic at times until the water level drops, it could be really interesting, and we could see some really good play coming out from both teams here.
It can, but you gotta beware too for Scarlet Scrimblers is that like, hey, we 100 to 0 them too. You can think about that all you want, but they're playing like a completely different team now. And if you're gonna be thinking, oh well, we 100 0 them easy last time, that can backfire so easily. You don't want to keep that thought in your head necessarily. You want to be like, hey, we know we got this, but you can't get too confident here, especially with UWW White showing that they're not ready to give this set. And I definitely think the fast comp is what they needed here. We kind of saw on that Mako Mart game that they just barely missed out on that cap after those specials come out. And now with them being a little bit more coordinated with those specials and having a lot more paint power than their old composition, they may be able to hold on to these zones a lot better than they did before.
Yep, and then with having this fast-paced comp, having this renewed confidence from the side of UWW White, I wouldn't be surprised if we see an absolute reverse from what we saw in the first Splat Zones game. I'm really excited to see coming from both teams. Like, this is a very tense game 6 situation here. The Scarlet Scrimblers have never been in a losing situation in this season prior to this set, and they went up 3-0. Then they dropped the next 2 games. They're gonna see if their poise is able to come back. Meanwhile, with UWW White, they are riding on an absolute high of momentum, and I want to see if this play just takes another leap forward as we go into game 6. Are we going to be able to see the Scarlet Scrimblers close it out here, or are we going to see UWW White force a game 7 situation?
This may be my bias speaking, but I'm always a sucker for an intense game 7. So we'll see what happens out of here. We do see this fast comp return. They found their bread and butter. They know what's gonna work for them here tonight. And we see a little bit more of a change up happening again on the side of Scarlet Scrimblers, trying to play around, seeing what they can do to stop the UWW White reverse sweep. As this first fight happens in the zone, the first initial lead is going to go to the Scrimblers, but they aren't able to just kind of find that easy wipeout like they were before. But that is 2 down on UWW White. They have to be careful that they don't feed stagger here, especially in such a claustrophobic map. If they fall victim to that, it can end the game really fast.
Yep, and right now we already see the Scarlet Scrimblers lose the zone thanks to the triple ink strikes coming out. This could be something massive as you see it back in neutral right now, and all of a sudden, without much hesitation, the Scarlet Scrimblers find a numbers advantage, take back the zone. They're going to try and work through this penalty. They get the wipe, and all of a sudden, on this map especially, they're going to push up. They're going to close out, force the other team into lockout, and this is going to be a really hard uphill battle for UWW White. Can they do it? They probably have it in them, but I'm really interested to see if they're going to be able to do it now that the Splat Zone timer is already down past the 50.
They've got to be careful. You see Boop here throwing these bombs. Oh, that bomb getting the pick on the crab tank and just kind of being a little bit of a nuisance there in their base. Two members of UWW White gonna charge forward here, try to take the zone, and they are able to get it. And now we can see the reverse happen. If UWW White can get into the Scarlet Scrimblers base and can force that lockout, this game can change really fast. They don't have to eat through any penalty on their timer like the Scarlet Scrimblers do. So all this is free time that they're getting score onto the board.
Yup, and with this UWW White having this fast comp, I'm not surprised if I'm going to see them try and make some flanks happen. Despite that, they're going 2 down, and they're still not losing the zone. They lose control of the zone now, or either which team's going to be able to cap it here. It's a 2-2, 3-2 advantage now for side of UWW White. They're going to lose the zone, though, as the Scarlet Scrimblers force UWW White into the penalty. They're now going to try and push up, try and get some picks, and now force UWW White to find a scrambling situation. As you see the Booyah Bomb come out, doesn't look like it's going to be enough as the Scarlet Scrimblers are going to hold on to this lead, and we're going to see if they're going to be able to keep the zone painted and potentially win the game from here.
Yep, and you had that fight going on, but our Scarlet Scrimblers is going to win that one in particular, and now they are about to finish eating through the rest of their penalty timer as they're going to be getting points here on the clock. Just 20 counts left on this zone, but they go 2 down. This is going to be the chance for UWW White once again to be able to flip this, and they do find it, just the heavy splatling up. Now UWW White is once again in a position to start pushing up and try taking back some of this space from the Scarlet Scrimblers.
Yep, and you see the aggressive play coming out from the aggressive comp. They're in their base. They're going to try and force them out in a lockup position. Having everyone turn their attention to the one-person flanking is going to make it much harder for them, for the Scarlet Scrimblers, to paint the zone. And UWW White is now out of their penalty. They're going to try and keep up. They have three equals right now. They're down to the 35. They're going to lose control. Not sure if they're going to be able to cap the zone. They do cap the zone. They're going to force it. It's now it's a 14-point deficit, and make that even less, and we're going to see potentially a massive comeback right here. Nope, but the Scarlet Scrimblers have something else to say in mind. They were able to cap the zone, force a penalty come out, and with less than a minute and a half to go, it's a really close game, but it's still anyone up for grabs.
It sure is. You kind of saw them get stuck there in that crab tank, unable to hold the zone there and getting pressured by, the members of the Scarlet Scrimblers and that wave breaker. But just like that, it's going to flip in favor back for UWW White again. In such a small map, it's so easy to flip this zone really fast if you have the player advantage, and we keep seeing that happen time and time again. With about a minute left now on the timer, Scarlet Scrimblers once again in control of the zone, but they've got to eat through that penalty to start scoring again, and it's already neutralized by UWW White. It looks like they may be taking it back here again, but now just the machine up on UWW White, and that's going to be the zone flipping again for Scarlet Scrimblers.
Yep, we saw a potential for like a massive comeback push from the side of UWW White, but that wipe really gonna hurt with less than 30 seconds to go. They now gotta find something to happen. With the penalty almost gone, the crab take now is gonna come out here from the side of UWW White. They cap the zone with less than 20 seconds to go. They're gonna have to eat through that penalty. They have the numbers advantage, only one up now. The heavy spotlight from the side of the Scarlet Scrimblers have to force a jump back, and this is a really good situation now, as it looks like we're gonna end up in an overtime right now.
This could be huge right here. You have these fights. These are the fights that are going to matter. 2 down on the side of the Scrimblers. 3 down. UWW White now just has to deal with this heavy splatling, which is going to go down. And now it looks like there may not be enough time left for the Scrimblers to get back in the zone. And UWW White is going to take it to a Game 7.
Just because they went down 3-0 does not mean they're out. UWW White forcing the Game 7 after an absolute bad match from them in the first splat zones. They make the comeback happen on Mahi Mahi splat zones, being able to show that composure. You see all this fight coming back from them. This is a completely different team, and now we're going to be going into a Game 7 situation. If you would have told me after Game 3 that we could be going to Game 7, I was expecting probably a playoff 7, probably either a sweep or a Game 5 win for Scarlet Scrimblers. But right now, UWW has so much momentum, and now we're going to be going into tower control on Manta Maria.
We are, and wow, this is just such a different game being played. And now tower control, This is worth noting. This is the map where we saw it all start to change for UWW White. This is where we saw on Eeltail them getting that super, super early lead and only just barely losing it in overtime. And this is what needs to happen now for the UWW White. They need to find the win here. This reverse sweep is within their grasp. They have all of the momentum on their side right now. They just have to keep playing exactly like they've been playing the second half of this set.
Yep. With having all this momentum, they were, and like as you said before, tower control is where it all started. You saw that massive opening push come out on Eeltail. And with how UWW White has been playing, we might see that again. We might see some aggressive pushes, some aggressive action, and just overall great play from their side. Going into tower control, I'm really interested to see. Well, first of all, we have a brand new map into this season. This is the debut of Manta Maria for CCA season 3. So I'm really interested to see how this new map with about a week or so of play from both teams is going to affect this game 7 situation where it's winner take all.
Yeah, and I don't know necessarily the history of these two teams, but if they played, in Splatoon 2, this is not an unfamiliar map to Splatoon 2 veterans. But in a different kind of meta with different weapons going on in Splatoon 3 with all the new different movement mechanics, it can play very differently. And like you said, it's new now for this game just coming out at the start of this season. So both teams probably are still a little bit unfamiliar with it, a little bit shaky with it. So I'm wondering how that's going to factor into their performance tonight.
Exactly. I'm really interested to see how this is going to go. We're going into a game 7. This has been an incredible set so far. The Scarlet Scrimblers jumping out to a dominant 3-0 lead, with including a 100-0 on Splatzone's Mako Mart. But UWW White looks like a completely different team, as we've been saying time and time again. This aggressive comp has really been working for them. And honestly, I wouldn't be surprised to see either team take it right here. I'm just happy that we've had this incredible set so far.
Yes, so am I. Like I said last game, I am a sucker for an intense game 7, and both of these teams have definitely brought that to the table for us here. And whoever takes the W tonight, congrats to them. But there's nothing to be ashamed of for being the second place here. Both of them performing so well in a 4-3 game is always really great. You know that those are filled with intense moments, great back and forth, and especially coming from, week 1, where Scarlet Scrimblers just 4-0 their opponents and UWW White was 1-4. Neither set was really close. Both of this set being so close, so tied up right now, it's got to feel intense. It's got to feel so rewarding for both teams.
Yep, exactly. This is such an incredible set from the side of both teams. And going into this game 7, both teams have nothing to be ashamed of. They've both had some great, incredible plays, some amazing comebacks from both sides. We're going to be going into Game 7 on Manta Maria Tower Control. What do you think we're going to be seeing from both teams here?
Oh man, well, I'm gonna say it. I hope to see this same fast-paced comp coming out from the side of UWW White, and it looks like we are. From the side of Scarlet Scrimblers, we got the same thing coming out from then this Hydra, or this Heavy with the Splash Carbon, the 96, and 96, this Kraken on tower can be really, really strong. It can really just stall out time for free if they don't have those strikes ready to push it off. And this Carbon Roller, time and time again, has been shown to have great flanks, and UWW White is going to have to really, really watch that.
Yep, you see an early advantage now from the Scarlet Scrimblers, taking that 3-2 early on. The Gal Deco went down early. The Sloshing Machine now goes down on the side of UWW. What Scarlet Scrimblers are going to make this first push. They have a now a 3-player advantage up as they're going to go to the first checkpoint. Going to look like they're going to be able to break it pretty early, especially as they just keep pushing this numbers advantage right now.
Yeah, they've got this crab tank out that had its eyes over on the machine, trying to displace it for as long as they can. But this splash is going to come in from the bunker with the crab tank of its own to try to stop the tower. But I believe we just heard that Kraken pop, and it's going to stay there on the tower, able to stall out that checkpoint just like Kraken does. Scarlet Scrimblers does go 3 down here, but that is huge, clearing both the first 2 checkpoints with just that last one left standing.
Yup, and that's massive, especially in this mode right here. You see UWW White, they have a slight numbers advantage here. They're already at the first checkpoint. They're going to try and push up as much as they're able to and force numbers here. UWW White has shown with this aggressive comp that they're able to just keep getting these picks. And if they're able to keep getting these picks, that's just eating away at the lead. As they're going to approach the second checkpoint right here, continuing with this advantage, you see the crowd come out on the side of UWW White. And all of a sudden, what happened to this lead? UWW White is now in the lead going in on game 7.
That lead has just evaporated, and now we have the machine here, and the tower is continuing to barrel forward as the UWW White is continuing to find pick after pick after pick, which they need. Just the machine left up now, but pushed all the way to 16. That is a huge, huge lead take for UWW White.
Yep, we saw some amazing plays come out so far. Like, even though there was the Scarlet Scrimblers jumped out already to the 45. UWW responds right away with the 16. Now the Scarlet Scrimblers, they're going to have to wait. They're going to have to wait there's tower to just start making the push. In this time, they're going to try and have those specials built up. You see the Kraken is ready in case they need to stall out those pushes right now. You see the Wavebreaker come out. You want to see them, you want to see the Scarlet Scrimblers take a numbers advantage right here as they're able to. Scarlet Scrimblers are close, almost to the point where they're going to be able to start gaining on this lead right now. They're already at the 44. Here we go. We're going to go in this tense situation with 2 minutes to go. Scarlet Scrimblers already at the 30 right now. You see this absolute firefight right now. Both teams know that this is game 7. It's going to come down to this. It's going to come down to the 20, the 19, 17. You see the Kraken on the floor right now. It's on the tower, and Scarlet Scrimblers now take the lead.
That Kraken there is so vital, giving them what they needed to break through. And with 3 down on the side of UWW White, it looks like that is going to be the game, as Scarlet Scrimblers is able to push it through, take game 7, and stop the reverse sweep from happening.
What a set from both teams. That game 7 basically just encompassed everything we saw in the set. UWW White takes that early lead. The Scarlet Scrimblers jump out to the early lead. The UWW White responds, bringing it back and taking the advantage themselves. Honestly, it came down to that absolute last push right there, and it was an incredible set from both sides. Both the Scarlet Scrimblers and UWW White should be very proud of how they played this set, and going into the rest of the season, it's going to be really exciting to watch out for both these teams.
Yes, that was absolutely fantastic. And that's going to end it today for that set. But we still have one more set tonight. We've got a Division 1 Wormwind versus MSU Firefin Couches coming up. But that's going to be it for me and Spicy on the mic. Spicy, where can the good people find you?
Yep, if you have Twitter, feel free to follow me at 2SpicyBM. I don't stream currently, but eventually if I get a capture card, I'll try to do some stuff. But as of now, feel free to just follow me on Twitter.
Well, and you can find me on Twitter at Crust of Gautier or here on Twitch at ttoma_. And that's going to be it for us. Thanks to the CCA for having us on the mic. Thanks to DRF, to Mizuno for all the hard work y'all put into the CCA. And we hope that y'all will hang around to watch this exciting Division 1 set coming up very soon.